I'm Shashini from the SriLankaNZ Newspaper, which is the only Sri Lankan community newspaper that is being distributed in New Zealand. And this is our first discussion on the topic "Break the Bias" in celebration of the International Women's Day that falls on the 8th of March. So I have here with me Dr. Perera, who is a food and nutrition consultant based in Auckland. She and her husband have been in New Zealand for over 40 years. And Dr. Anne, who is referred to as Auntie Anne by many of us, comes from Moratua in Sri Lanka and has lived and studied or worked in several countries, including India, US, Brazil, Singapore, and Tanzania. She has several degrees in agriculture, food technology, food and nutrition, and an MBA, as well as a counseling psychology. But she considers motherhood as her highest qualification. So welcome to this conversation, Dr. Anne. And thank you for your time today. So
thank you, Shashini.
So if you just go right into it, if you can give us an example of a memory or experience that you've had, a happy memory that you've had, specifically linked to you being a woman, could you give us an example of that?
Yes, I think a happy memory for me as a woman was when I found out that I was pregnant. At that time, I was in the United States completing my PhD in food and nutrition. And so that was a good timing, finishing. We used to wonder, whether the thesis or the baby comes first. So I completed my thesis. And so at that time, both my husband and I have been offered jobs in Brazil, as professors at a university, to start a new program of food science. So I had the option of staying in the States or going to Brazil. So because, Conrad went ahead to set up a home for me to come, I decided that it's more important to have the baby in Brazil with my husband rather than having the baby in the US and going later. So I went to Brazil and had my baby there in the middle of a lot of difficulties in the way of language problems and culture and getting used to a new country. And while after having the baby, while in hospital, the nurse came and told me that there is another mother in the next room who is not well enough to give milk to her baby, and asked me whether, I would be willing to give milk or share my milk with another baby. So for a while I was wondering, whether, if the mother was sick, whether it's safe for me to, feed this baby. But still I felt that this milk is very important milk, because through my food and nutrition, I know how important the first few days milk is. And so I said, okay. And I, kept one breast for my son, and the other one was this little girl, and who was actually from a Japanese background. There were a lot of Japanese in Brazil. So I fed these two babies. That was a very happy occasion for me. I never, wanted, it never occurred to me to keep track of who this baby was, the other girl.
Yeah.
And after many years, we had an exchange student from Brazil who came to live with us for 4 months. During that time, I thought, there's a girl in Brazil who drank my milk.
Yeah.
And I wish I can trace her back, but I couldn't quite. So I don't know where she is now, but still, there's a 40-odd-year-old Brazilian woman at my milk. That's a special memory that I have as a woman.
And that sounds wonderful, and it's good mystery to have, I guess, for 40 years. Well, do you have any other memories that you would like to discuss?
Another one is when I was studying in the US, that is in the 1970s. That was the time when Mrs. Bandaranaike, Mrs. Rimau Bandaranaike, was the first woman prime minister in the world.
Yeah.
So there were groups, professional women's groups in the US who were very keen for me to come and share with them the role of women in Sri Lanka. So I used to wonder, what's so different, in Sri Lanka. I never felt there was even the salaries were the same for men and women, but in the US it was quite different. There was a very distinct gender gap. So they thought, they wanted to hear what I had to say. So I was invited by, I specifically remember one group called Altrusa International. The dean of the faculty where I studied food and nutrition, she was a member there, and she invited me to speak to her group. And so later on, they also assisted me with my studies, which was really nice. And after coming to New Zealand, I found a branch of Altrusa, and I went and spoke to them and said, how I was at the receiving end while I was a student, and now I want to give back, and connected with them.
Thank you for sharing that memory.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that in Sri Lanka you didn't feel that gender gap or disparity. However, in my introduction, I've mentioned that you've lived in so many different countries, and that's a lot of different cultures. Have you ever felt excluded in any way because of being a woman, maybe in any other culture that you've interacted in?
Well, after coming to New Zealand, I had worked for several organizations, and the reason why they hired me was mainly for the qualifications. But then you get a whole lot of people with whom you work, and although my boss was very much, understanding and supporting me, there was another manager at a higher level in a particular company that I worked for. I think that through his nature, he was very much a very, macho man, talking about rugby and all that. And I was not that. I didn't fit into his caliber of, even sitting at morning tea and having a conversation. So I felt very much that wherever there was a high-level decision-making meeting, he didn't want me there, kind of feeling. I don't know whether it's the gender or the minority category. Whatever it was, I felt he was the only one that I felt kind of like, didn't appreciate me being there. Kind of, so that was like feeling of being excluded. Otherwise, I haven't really directly felt being discriminated as such here. I don't know about the others, who may have felt also when we came, there weren't that very many Sri Lankans, except, there were a lot of doctors. And in our professional fields, we were kind of like new to this area.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good example, I guess. In workplaces, women face a lot of exclusions or just biases. So when you think about the future, in your opinion, what can we as individuals do to make our communities free of gender biases and stereotypes and discrimination, and make it more inclusive for everyone?
I think education plays a major role in being recognized and being equal at the workplace. And if you can perform well, even better than some of your male counterparts, that makes a big difference. So I think in my case, the work ethics and the commitment, as well as the qualifications and the knowledge, has played a major role. When I was in Brazil, Brazil is also a kind of like male-dominant country.
Yeah.
They had electing the head of the department, for 2 years. So I was one of the candidates there, and the other person was a male professor. He was a Brazilian, and but somehow or other through the voting, the staff had to vote. I was elected as the head of the department, which was an honor in a way, but major challenge as well. And then working in Tanzania, my role was mainly to capacity building, like helping people to be more knowledgeable in the food and nutrition area. And most of the people who came to my classes, to learn how to preserve food and to make a business out of that were women.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones who were, and also in schools, the girls, education of girls was very much encouraged, because the poverty cycle, part of the poverty cycle is girls leaving school early and getting pregnant and having children, and then it kind of inbreeds the poverty. So equality, gender equality can be achieved through education, and especially educating the younger female generation. Now, if you're familiar with this Sustainable Development Goals, about which I also wrote a write-up in the newspaper a few months ago, there's one, the goal number 5 is gender equality, so it comes, it's a known thing that is recognized in the world and through the UN also, that in order to have a sustainable development in the world, there should be a gender equality, and that can come mainly through education, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and sharing your insights into what we can do in the future as well. And thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ann. And have a good day.
Thank you, Shashini. Thank you.
Bye-bye.